Hello and welcome to Daily Reflection with Aneel Aranha. Today is the 18th of January 2019. We're going to reflect on Mark chapter 2, 1 to 12. Listen. When Jesus returned to Capernaum after some days, it was reported that he was at home. So many gathered around that there was no longer room for them, not even in front of the door, and he was speaking the word to them. Then some people came, bringing to him a paralyzed man carried by 4 of them. And when they could not bring him to Jesus because of the crowd, they removed the roof above him, and after having dug through it, they let down the mat on which the paralytic lay. When Jesus saw their faith, he said to the paralytic, "Son, your sins are forgiven." Now some of the scribes were sitting there, questioning in their hearts, "Why does this fellow speak in this way? It is blasphemy. Who can forgive sins but God alone?" At once Jesus perceived in his spirit that they were discussing these questions among themselves, and he said to them, "Why do you raise such questions in your hearts? Which is easier, to say to the paralytic, 'Your sins are forgiven,' or to say, 'Stand up and take your mat and walk'? But so that you may know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins," he said to the paralytic, "I say to you, stand up, take your mat and go to your home." And he stood up and immediately took the mat and went out before all of them, so that they were all amazed and glorified God, saying, "We have never seen anything like this." The gospel of the Lord. Many years ago, I was invited by Fritz Mascarenas to speak to some of the groups he used to minister to in Bangalore. Fritz is a legend in the church and has touched thousands of lives over the past several years. I was just starting out as a preacher, and I thought it was mighty kind of him to extend this invitation, but that's the kind of man he is. Very encouraging, very loving, and very affirming. Anyway, as we were on our way to one of the meetings, he saw a young man walking on the road. He stopped the car, got out, went to the youngster, and after a few words, practically forced him into the car, telling him that he had to come and listen to me. The young man said he was on his way to a movie, and Fritz told him he could go for a movie anytime. He wouldn't get a chance like this again. I don't think this guy was very happy being shanghaied like this, and he had a sour face for much of the talk. This disconcerted me quite a bit, and I wondered why Fritz had to do this. But by the end of the session, the young man was weeping uncontrollably, thanking Fritz repeatedly for forcing him to come. He said he had been so lost, but now was found again. Quite obviously, Fritz was very tuned to the Spirit. So what has this story got to do with what this passage we just read? Quite a lot, actually, because this story is about 4 men who take their friend to Jesus, quite possibly against his will. I mean, this guy has probably been to every doctor in a 100-mile radius to no avail. He would have lost all hope of being healed. And his friends want to take him to a miracle man. I imagine he protested a lot, and even more when they took him to the roof. But the faith of his friends got him not only the physical healing they wanted him to have, but spiritual healing as well, as Jesus forgave his sins. So, here is a question for you now. There are so many things that happen in your parish: retreats, special seminars, outreaches. Do you invite your friends to them, especially those who don't know Christ? Or are you afraid that they will mock you and refuse to come? Learn a lesson from these 4 men here and from Brother Fritz. So, be a friend and introduce Jesus to somebody today.